1.
Welcome everyone to Rainey Speaks. I'm glad that you joined me one more Thursday night as we continue the journey of self-discovery and continue the journey of how do we apply these universal principles in our daily life. Again, I thank you for joining me. I am Rainey Cheeks, and it has been a pleasure to be able to uh, be with you every Thursday night. Let's join me first in a short prayer. Almighty God, I thank you. I thank you for your love, for your light. I thank you for my life. I thank you for comforting my family at this time. Thank you for all of those that have come to join me tonight so that we can all learn and grow together for these blessings and all blessings in the love and light of Christ that dwell in us. And so it is. Amen. Um, Thank you for those who support me in doing this work. Uh, there's PayPal and Cash App. You see it on the screen. I thank you for the donations that have come in. It keeps me going to be able to do this. Very soon, I will be teaching some classes separately on meditation and visualization techniques. And I hope that you come and join me on those classes. Uh, there are many different styles of meditation and many different techniques that you can use. I have shared this with many people that I teach and work with, and I think you will find it to be a very, very powerful technique. There is a difference between visualization and meditation. And when we understand the difference, you can use it in your everyday life, especially visualization techniques. I used to compete in professional sports, and many of you know, in martial arts. And I would visualize myself standing in the winning box and them handing me the trophy, and I would accept it with one hand and shake hands with the other. I would clear a spot at home and tell everybody, don't put anything in that spot because I needed to bring the trophy back and sit it down because I visualized myself doing it. And anybody that know that I filled the house with them. That when I was in the middle of competition, I would visualize certain techniques that I was going to use, and then it would just happen automatically. So visualization is a great tool that you uh, are able to create the outcomes that you desire. So we're going to get into that. I want to share this be early. My family right now is going through some major changes. My sister Celestia, she should be home today. She had minor surgery. My brother Cornell is in the hospital. He had surgery. Most importantly, my brother Quentin, uh, his wife Charlene made transition today. She passed. And so I will keep my brother Quentin in prayer and his wife Charlene and the children. We will keep the whole family just surrounded in prayer and love as he travels through this period of time right here. Amen. All right. Yes, it's been a full day. Um, I've been teaching on these different principles, and what I intend to do is, after teaching several of these principles, is to be able to line them all up so that you can understand how to use them in your everyday life. I like things to be very practical. It is no need in learning a lot of principles if you cannot use it right now today in your life. And, I remember someone talking about learning something so that you can use it in your next lifetime. I don't have that. I need to be able to use it this lifetime. So when I get to that next life, I already have the tools in my hand. um, uh, no right or wrong in it. This is just the way I teach. I So as we are learning these different principles, you'll see the beginning of it look like they're separate. But the more you work with them, the more they line up, the more you're able to use them in your everyday life. The principle that I'm going to teach on tonight, because before this one, I think we taught on the law of correspondence, vibration, rhythms. Um, Tonight is the law of polarity. And you will begin to see how they are like close together, but being able to shift from this one to this one, from rhythms to vibrations. What is the difference? From polarity to correspondence, what is the difference? And when do I use them in my life? Um, the principle of polarity, and I am reading from this book, The Kabbalion. I think you can see that without a glare on it, by the three initiates. It says, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has a pair of opposites, like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but the difference in degrees. Extreme meets. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. That's a handful. Um, so reads, it says, the principle embodies that the truth that everything is dual, everything has two poles, everything has its pairs of opposites, all of which are old Hermetic axioms. It is explained in the old paradox that have perplexed so many, which has been stated as the following: theses and antitheses are identical in nature, but different in degrees, are the same, different only in degrees. The pair of opposites may be reconciled. Extreme meets. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half truths. Everything, even truth, is false. There are two sides to every coin, etc., 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 etc. You've heard this before. Everything has two poles. I want you to think of this. And, and this is how I had to wrap my head around it. If this is dark and this is light, and we're right here on the spectrum. So if I keep this point right here as dark and this is light, if I now have another point here and this is light, what was light to this darkness now becomes the darkness to this light. Now this is light and this is darkness. I go up to the next level. This light is dark to this light. If I can think you can see the change. You see the change in that? This is light. But when I cut this light on, that light became the darkness to that light. So it is wrapping your brain around the principles that if this is hot and I heat something up even more, then what was hot here becomes cold to this hot. I caught this on one of the cooking shows, and everybody knows, no, I am not a cook. And they were saying they had to stir eggs into this mixture because it couldn't get too hot or the eggs would fry. So it had to be under a certain temperature for it to fold into the rest of the dough. You see, I'm out of my lane in the cooking field. And I said, there's the principle. So it couldn't get too hot or it would change states. It would mutate into something different. It would mutate into fried eggs. So it had to stay where it was cool enough to still blend in, but not hot enough to change states. Everything is a matter of degrees. And I learned to use this in this way, and I have used this many times. And every time I teach one of these principles, I want you to think of how would I use that in my daily life. I tried to give a few examples when I do this, but you have to work at developing how you can use those principles, each principle in your daily life. You know that love and hate are simply opposite ends of the pole. And somebody, you look at a couple and you go, how do they fight and then make love? Or how do they fight and they still together? Because it's the opposites that are attracting, and it holds that energy. And then there's that, and as you slide along the scale, excuse me, excuse me, there becomes that place of the like and the dislike, and there's a sliding place in there. So even the hate, the love, where does it turn into hate? And so if you even move that up the scale, it keeps going. I use this technique sometimes when people want to be loud and talking. So what I will do, if somebody is screaming, you talk softer. I go to the opposite end of the pole, because either I have, if your volume is here, for me to go to the opposite end of the pole, I can stay at this level and this is what's happening. Or I come to this level and now there's this balance here. Usually what happens is, if I'm talking softer, that person have to lower their voice because they have to go, what did you say? And I still keep talking down here, which now brings them down this level, and I can move and switch the poles, not going up to the screaming level, but then I can balance it and make the poles shorter. A little trick that you try. So the next time somebody is really loud, just speak softer. Don't raise your voice at all. Keep your voice down here and answer everything that they're saying at this level. And then as they're talking loud and you're answering down here, you watch, they will have to keep lowering their voice so that they can hear what you are saying. And those are, I'm going to go to the opposite end of the pole. And then when I get correspondence, I can move the pole and switch it a little bit and dominate a lot. I don't want to go this way. I don't want to make a big gap. I just bring it up to here, and now I can keep the flow even. Easy law of correspondence. Figure out ways in which you can use this in your daily life. That everything has an opposite, and everything, duality, is a matter of degrees. Remember that. Duality is a matter of degrees. And if you understand that, you have a lot more control. Good and evil are simply opposites of the pole. If this is the spectrum, and this end is good and this end is evil, they're both on the same, it's a matter of degrees. How do I get you from this end to this end? If this is evil and this is good, then I begin to find where the ground may be common and begin to change the polarity. How do I do that? John Lewis was the perfect example. And I love his expression, cause good trouble. Cause good trouble. often it is a matter of being able to simply talk. I was downtown when one of the marches, and these people were, you know, Donald Trump, and they were angry, and I realized I had to get through them. So I was just walking, and we got to a point, and I heard some of them trying to figure out where they were going, and I simply said, "Excuse me, that street is that way. If you go to the corner and make a right," I said, "just follow the alphabets up. This numbers go this way, da da da." And I explained it to them. They were like, "Thank you, sir." So I'm walking, and so we got into a conversation, and I said, "Could you explain, because I'm a little lost on what is it that you exactly that you want?" And because I kept the tone at this level, they brought their energy all the way down, and I just kept saying, "That's interesting. Um, so do you think this is going to change anything?" And we just had this conversation. I don't think I changed their minds, but I did make them think about a few things in that process, because I asked questions like, "Well, have any of you ran for office before? Or are you involved in your government at home? I mean, why did you need to come all the way to Washington, D.C.?" And we just had this conversation for about a block. And I just kind of like, "Well, enjoy your stay. I hope you get to see some of the monuments what your taxes bought." And they stayed very calm through the whole thing. It is important that you understand how these laws work and how you can use them in your everyday life. It make you the master of your universe. This is your universe. This is your temple. This is your shrine right here. And I can control the energy that is around me if I simply realize what principle is in motion. And then I can begin to control it by the tone of my voice, by recognizing the degree in which somebody is operating. And if I understand the principles, then if it's rhythm, then I can get in a certain flow with you. And that's what I did with them. I talked with them. I walked slower than them. They actually slowed down to walk in my rhythm. And I sort of won them over in that. Did I get them to go home? No. But I believe that they had a different perspective of what was going on, and a different perspective of a black man that they met. So they will go home and they will remember talking with me. Sometimes you just have enough to plant the seed. Sometimes it's enough to change the volume by a degree and begin to now move things and shift things to another level. This gives you mastery over your own life. It is so important that you take control over. Some people walk around with, "This is always happening to me. Nothing is ever going." That means you have no control. You don't understand any of the principles. And if you did, you passed them off because you did not apply them. To become a master of your life, meditation keeps you calm and centered. I meditate every day to stay calm and centered so that I have control over my environment. I don't have control over there. I only have control right here. It allows me to be able to see clearly and then to apply the laws and the principles as I need them. So each week, again, I'm teaching on some very basic principles. And when you learn the art of polarity, It says you become the mental alchemist. In other words, I am able to control and change the environment because I can be in rhythm what's going on. I can change the rhythm to my speed. I can control the polarity and understand what frequency you're on. So I can change the frequency and I can control the environment. I do this sometimes in a demonstration and sometimes in a group. I have done this. I have said to one person, I want you to not get involved. I want you to pay very close attention. Just observe, become the observer. And so in the group, I bring my voice up and I start talking louder and louder. And then I start making some rude jokes and all of a sudden the whole group changes and get into rude jokes or calling names. And I just look at the person and they are like, wow. And when I bring it down, I say, tell them what just happened. And he will tell them that the whole group's volume just went up and started using language that you weren't using. And it was all controlled. He did it within 10 minutes. And I said, this is when you are mastering your energy and around you. And that's why you have to be careful. And I don't care where you are. If people try to get you hyped up and it's like, let's go. And that's what happened on the 6th of last month. Everybody got hyped up and then it was like, go. And then you had people running into the freaking Capitol and hollering and screaming. And after some of them got there, they were kind of like, okay, wow. They got caught up into the energy, into the rhythm and the polarity of what was going on, and they went to the other end without thinking. All speakers do this. Preachers do it. And I tell people all the time, if somebody is trying to get you hyped up in church and shout, and they have not really broken down scriptures or anything, they're leading you down the yellow brick road. Pump the brakes. I love a good shout, but I need to know what I'm shouting about. Not just because some music is going dun dun dun. Dun. No, no. So speakers do it all the time. They know how to build the energy up and get you going, but you need to be aware. And so anytime, no matter how excited I might get, I am usually in control of going, oh, I am purposely going on this journey, and I can purposely unplug it so that I don't end up someplace I don't want to be. I forgot who wrote the song. It says, how did you get here? You're not supposed to be here because you opened the door, because you got into that rhythm of what was going on. And we all have done it before. Me too. So learn, this is the law of polarity. Again, I'm going to read it. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has a pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but the difference is in degrees. Extreme meets. All truths are but half true. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So as I used the example before about going up the spiral, it's going up and the same energy. No, let me use another example. A piano has keys, so it goes dun dun dun. It goes up the scale, and then it jumps up to the next octave, another degree. Same notes, just at a different frequency. Go up again, a higher degree, different frequency, same correspondence. So if this is light and this is dark, I did it the opposite way. If this is dark and this is light, if this point over here, then this is light. This light becomes the darkness to this light, but this light is the light to this darkness. It's a matter of degrees. And if you learn how to use this, again, you take more control over the environment that is around you. If anybody got any questions, I think you can reach me tonight on Facebook. I want to thank G. Carlos for working with me and helping me to get through this. So that is my lesson for tonight. I'm going to, there was one more point. There was a point. Oh, all of this, keep this in mind. Using all of these principles, you must have control of your will. Your will controls the motion. It controls what you will apply and what you will not apply. So no matter what condition you're in, you have the ability to get out of it if you're willing to use your will to apply the principles that you are learning in this process. Okay, remember that. So right now we have the law of correspondence, the law of polarity, the law of vibration. I think cause and effect, I think I did that already, which is the law of karma. I was having a conversation with a friend, and he said, we were talking about reincarnation, and I gave him my definition, and I said, that's why when babies are born and somebody go, oh, this looks just like so-and-so. I said, be careful, it could be that soul coming back one more time. Next month, I am going to switch to be on YouTube April the 1st, Thursday, April the 1st. And that's not an April Fool's joke. April the 1st, we will switch to YouTube because many people will be able to see it. I have many friends who have said to me, I'm not on Facebook. And I think that going to YouTube instead of Zoom will be able to reach more people, and that I will be lining up to teach a meditation class. All of that will start in Zoom. Also, I want to say on the 25th of this month, on the 20th, I can't forget that, is my birthday. Yes, I will be 69 years old. Yes, I'm embracing my eldership. On the 25th, I have a special guest, Ms. Mickey Braden from New York City, wonderful artist. Mickey wrote a song, if you've heard it, called I Am. I'm going to be using that on when I switch over to YouTube. I love that song. And just as a performing artist, I asked her to come in celebration of Women's History Month. I have someone else coming before that, but I can't say until I confirm it. And then April the 8th, I have Nana Kwabena Brown. I talked to him today, and he is coming on April the 8th. He is one of the oldest traditional priests in this country. I'm so honored to have him come and join us and share his wisdom on that day. So please mark those two dates, the 25th of March and the 8th of April. Miss Mickey and Nana Kwabena Brown I have one other speaker, but I will hopefully be able to announce that next week once I confirm the date. So the law of correspondence, I'm sorry, the law of polarity. The law of polarity, everything has opposites. They are duality. And so only difference between this end and this end is the degree, is the frequency. If I move it up the scale, then this becomes the opposite end of this. And it just keeps happening over and over. This is here, this is here. But if I move it up to here, then this becomes the opposite end of this. Now this becomes the opposite end. And you can learn to use that, like I gave the example of learning how to, if somebody is really raising their voice, just talk softer. Just really talk soft like this. It takes a lot of control. But the softer you talk. Now they have to bring their voice down to be able to hear what you're saying. So my lesson tonight on polarity, I hope that you grab it and be able to practice it and put it in your life. I like to hear from you sometimes, like the next week. How did you use it? The laws and they're just principles if you don't apply them to your life. I'm still going to be teaching from my book, and that is some of the laws and principles are in this. I love teaching. I hope that you are getting a lot out of this. Again, I want to thank my tech person, G. Carlos, for helping me out so that I don't have to push any of the wrong buttons to make all of this work. Before I leave, again, for those of you that know my brother, Quentin, keep him in prayer. His wife, Charlene, may transition this morning. And so we wish them peace as she travels to become the newest ancestor in the family. I thank you for everyone who make donations to support me in this process to keep the journey going. I love doing this, and I get some nice comments. Your feedback help a lot. So, and if there's something that you want me to teach on, please just let me know. I will be glad to do it. So this is Rainy Cheeks. I enjoy your company. Glad that you're with me. Most of these lessons are really just short, but I want you to please look at how do I take each lesson and apply it in my life. Like I said, in a few weeks, you're going to see how I line all of them up so that it becomes tools for you to use every day in your life. My prayer is that you live to the highest vibration in you. My prayer is that everyone who see you, hear you, touch you, think of you, excuse me, will experience love flowing in your life. My apologies for the cough. So I look to see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock right here on Rainey Speaks. Peace.